morning everyone. Myself Ashwati Singh of class 10th I from SR Global School, and we are here to present the topic civil disobedience movement from our history subject, which is the sub part of our subject social science. And from with me my friends are here, so I want to introduce them all. First is Soni, and second one is Anshika Verma, third one is Anshika Maurya, and fourth one is Yashi Shukla. So let's start our topic. On December 1928, Nehru report was sent to British government with an ultimatum to be get, but the British government neither implemented this report nor responded. So Nehru ji became angry and he declared that now if the British government want to implement this report, now we do not want this report to be get implemented. And for this, the first Indian National Congress session was held in Lahore, which is now in Pakistan, and the goal of this session was to get Purn Swaraj. So after that, Nehruji hosted flag near Ravi River on 31st December 1929 and declared India as Purn Swaraj. So in this session, after some discussions, the first aim was to get the prominent leader who was leading, who could attract everyone with this movement. So they called Gandhi ji because from before that Gandhi ji had done the very successful movement which was known as non-cooperation movement. So when Gandhi ji came and he traveled all the different parts of the country, he found that the salt tax that was imposed by the British government in 1882 was a very inhuman tax. Around 65% to 75% tax was imposed on salt, and he found that salt was consumed by both the rich and the poor. So he started Dandi March with his 78 trusted volunteers, and he covered 240 meals in 24 days, and he reached on 6th April 1930 to the coastal town of Dandi. And this march was also known as White Flowing River because in this march everyone wore white dhoti and kurta. Now I want to call my friend Anshika Maurya.
It's time to know how the different participants saw this movement. The first one is rich peasants. The patidars of the Gujarat and the Jats of Uttar Pradesh were active in this movement. Being the producers of the commercial crops, they were hardly hit by the trade depression and the falling prices, and due to the disappeared cash income, they were impossible to pay the revenue demand to the government, and also the government refused to reduce the revenue demands. So they started organizing some of the movements, and also they forced rebellion members to participate in the boycott movements. The second one is poor peasants. The poor peasants only want that the rent of their to be remitted by the large landlords. So they also started participating in the radical movements, often led by the socialists and communists. Third is the workers of the industrialists. They had not participated in the civil disobedience movement in large numbers, but some of them did participated in this, adopting and selecting of some of the Gandhi's ideas and views.
Participated in this for their low wages and poor working conditions in the industries. Now talking about the women, it is the most important feature of the participation of civil disobedience movement. They had participated in large numbers in civil disobedience movement as they believe that this is the sacred duty to serve their nations. And in urban areas, these women were from the rich households, and in rural areas, these were from the rich peasant household families. And despite of the mass education, they had not secured good positions in society because Gandhiji believed himself that the woman's role is restricted to her house and she should learn to be a good mother and a good wife. And Congress also do not have put their positions to the society and for a long time.
The British government saw this movement was spread widespread in different parts of the country. It restricted some of the Gandhiji from entering Delhi, and it also arrested Gandhiji and Nehruji both. So the participants who were participating in this movement became angry and the movement became violent. So the British government for this took the first roundtable conference in London, but the Congress party denied to participate in that conference because this party was leading such a big movement, so that if this party joined that movement, the movement would be slowed down. So this party denied to join that conference. So first roundtable conference was failed. So now British government took the second roundtable conference and it sent its Lord Irwin to console Gandhiji to participate in the second roundtable conference anyhow. So when he came and after some discussions with Gandhiji accepted to call off this movement, but he put two conditions. And the first condition was that the people who were got arrested in this movement, during this movement, around 60,000 persons were arrested. So all of them were to be freed, and the land that was confiscated by the British government was to be given to their respective landlords. So Lord Irwin accepted to all the conditions that were put by Gandhiji. So Gandhiji called off this movement in 1932 and he went for the roundtable conference. But when he went for the roundtable conference, his negotiations were broken down as not the British government promised to do it, not done all of that. So when Gandhiji came back to India from London, he restarted this movement in 1932, but the participants were got angry because he had called off this movement. So they didn't participate in this movement, and this movement lost its momentum by 1934. So this was all about civil disobedience movement.